Okay, guys, so today's title is Estimating Fractions. You can go ahead and write that title in your journal. You can pause the video at any time to give you some time to write some things down or to think about some things or to work a problem out. After you get your title written down, I want you to take a look at your Unit 3 TEKS glued in your journal, and I want you to try to figure out what TEK it is that you're working with when we're talking about estimating fractions. TEKS 5.3a, so you can write that in your journal also. I can estimate to determine solutions. We've seen that TEK a lot, but today we're going to be working with it with fractions. Okay, so you probably have some fraction strips there on your table. You can feel free to use those during the first couple of slides here while we're modeling how to estimate the addition and subtraction of fractions. All right, so let's estimate 1/10. I want you to ask yourself, is 1/10 closer to 0, to a half, or to a whole? Well, you can drag your fraction strips out to compare. Here's a 1 whole, here's a half, and here is 1/10. So ask yourself, is 1/10 closer to 0, if I was to write 0 right here, or half is right here, or a whole? What is it closer to? Right, it's closer to 0 because if we look, 1/10 comes right here. If we were to pretend this was a number line, 1/10 actually falls closer to 0. So 1/10 is estimated to 0. All right, let's take a look at another one. Okay, clear your fraction strips. And let's go ahead and get your whole. Let's get your half. And you can drag out 6/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6/8. So if this is 0, and if right here was half, oh, let's move that out of the way. And if this was 1 whole, we can see that 6/8 is actually closer to the whole right here because it's way more than a half and actually closer to the whole. So if we estimated 6/8, we're going to say that it's closer to 1 whole. All right, let's go on to our next one. All right, now we're going to estimate some addition. So 9/10, would you say that is closer to 0, to a half, or to a whole? Well, I'm going to say that's closer to a whole, right? 5/6, what is that close to? Yeah, 6/6 would be 1 whole, so 5/6 is going to be closer to 1 whole also. So if we were to estimate what 9/10 plus 5/6 is, our answer is going to be close to 2 wholes. Okay, let's model another one. Right now you're not writing anything down, you're just modeling. All right, 3/4. All right, let's estimate. Is that closer to 0, to a half, or to a whole? Well, 4/4 is 1 whole, so 3/4, it's more than half. You can actually just look. 1, 2, 3. Look, it's more than a half. So we're going to estimate that 3/4 is close to 1 whole plus 5/12. Well, I know that half of 12 is 6. So 5/12 is going to be close to a half. Let's just look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I'm looking, that's close to a half. So I'm going to estimate that 5/12 is close to a half. So 1 whole plus 1/2 is 1 1/2. All right. Let's do another one. 1/8. What would you estimate that to be? So let's put our fraction strips away for right now. 1/8. Is that closer to 0, half, or whole? Well, I know that half of 8 is 4, so 4/8 would be a half. So I'm going to say that's closer to 0. All right? 3/10. Ask yourself, well, what's half of 10? Half of 10 is 5, so 5/10 is a half. And 3 would probably be closer to the half mark than it would be the 0 mark. So we're going to estimate that to be a half. So 0 plus a half is a half. So we know that 1/8 plus 3/10 is going to be closer to a half. All right, so all your fraction strips should be put away now. Pause the video to make sure you get all those out of the way. All right, and let's take a look at number lines. So in just a little bit, I'm going to have you draw some number lines, but I want us to look at one first before you go to drawing it. All right, 3/4. If I'm looking at my number line, I have 0 here and 1 here, and I know that my half is going to be somewhere right in here, right? Okay, 3/4. On this number line, where would 3/4 go? Well, I know that my number line should be cut into 4 pieces, so if I actually did that, my 3/4 would land somewhere right about here. So would you say that this is closer to 0, half, or whole? 1 whole, right. Okay, 5/12. Let's take a look at 5/12. And I have another number line down here to record or to find where 5/12 goes. So I know that from 0 to 1 in the fraction 5/12, my number line would be divided into 12 pieces. So half of 12 is 6. So that means this would be 6/12 or 1/2. Okay, so that would mean this is 1/12, 2/12, 3/12, 4/12, 5/12. There's my 6/12. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then 12/12 is the same as 1 whole. Okay, so 5/12 is going to fall on this number line right here. So would we say that's closer to 0, half, or a whole? I would say half, right. So when we estimate 3/4 plus 5/12, that is saying that that is about 1 plus a half. So our answer would be somewhere close to 1 1/2. Okay, get your pencil ready. And in your journal, let's draw a number line to represent these two fractions. We're going to add these two fractions. So draw a straight line, and you can follow the blue line in your journal. And then we're going to mark it with a 0 at the beginning, a 1 at the end, and then we know that somewhere right in here is going to be our half mark. So I'm just going to put a half mark. Okay, so really what I want to do is let's think about what half is in relation to 11/18. Well, what is half of 18? 9, right? So if we were going to cut this number line in 18 pieces, we know that our halfway point is 9/18, right? So 11/18 will fall somewhere like right in here, I would think. So like this is probably 10, this is probably 11. So this is 11/18. And I know that this would be like 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So you can see that 11/18 falls right here on the number line. So would you say that this is closer to a half or closer to a whole? Yeah, I would think it would be closer to a half. So we're going to estimate that 11/18 is close to a half. Minus, now we got to figure out where 2/9 is. So I'm going to draw another number line. And this is 0, this is 1, and I know this is my halfway point. Okay, now let's think about 9. What would be my halfway point of 9? Well, let's think. 4 plus 4 is 8. So it's, and 5 plus 5 is 10. So it really falls in between the 4 and the 5, right? So this would be like 4/9. This would be like 5/9. And that half is somewhere in between there. And we don't have to know exactly, but we know that here's 4/9, and if this is 0/9, this is 1, 2, and 3/9. And so here's my 2/9 right here. So is that closer to 0 or to a half? It's closer to 0. So estimated 11/18 minus 2/9 is something close to a half minus 0. So our answer is going to be close to a half. Okay, now I want you to try this one on your own. Pause the video so that you can draw your 2 number lines in your journal. Okay, so my number lines look something like this. This is my half. Now if I'm thinking 24/25, now this one I can look at and see that it's really close to almost a whole, right? So you might not even need to draw on a number line to figure that one out. I'm going to scoot all this down. Okay, so I know that this is close to a whole. 1/9. That means this number line is divided into 9 pieces. Is 1/9 closer to 0, to a half, or to a whole? 0. So 24/25 minus 1/9 estimated would be 1 minus 0 is 1. So your answer is going to be close to 1. Okay, tell you what. Take this one. You know what? Let's not even draw a number line. Let's see if you can determine 3/36 plus 1/10. Write that problem down in your journal. Okay, 3/36. That is close to what? 0, half, or a whole? 0. Because I know that half of 36 is somewhere around 15, 18. So 3 is nowhere close to 18. So 1/10, that's close to 0. So our answer is going to be close to 0. All right. Let's do one more for good measure. Let's say 7/9 minus 2/11. Try to estimate that one on your own in your journal. Okay, 7/9 close to 1 whole and 2/11 close to 0. So when we actually subtract those two fractions, whatever we come up with should be close to 1. Okay, that's the end of this lesson. You guys are going to go to your checklist or your agenda so that you can see what assignment you're going to be doing.